Yo, what's up guys? We are finally here with the PMCD League Week 1. We're here on Pokemon Showdown for my team building video versus the Baltimore Orioles. I of course am the coach of the Portland Crowbats. And yeah, I'm really hyped for the league. My good friend Jay Specs invited me to it and we're here to win a title and make it to the main roster next season. So in this league, for those of you who don't know, we suspect test some mons that other leagues don't use in their draft, kind of like Hoopa Unbound, Mega Metagross, Genesect, stuff like this. So looking at our teams, I drafted Hoopa Unbound, Landorus T, Amoonguss, Slowbro, Aselgor, Golbat, Cobalion, Golurk, Magneton, Everluck, and Mega Lopunny. My opponent drafted Manaphy, Mega Sableye, Hydreigon, Scolipede, Heliolisk, Ember, Whimsicott, Musharna, Jirachi, Sandslash, and Escavalier. As you can see, my team is pretty offensive, I guess. More offensive than I'd like to be, but I still have a solid defensive core with Amoonguss, Slowbro, Golbat, and Everluck. It gets the job done, I guess. But when I looked at my opponent's team, I just saw it's pretty bulky with Mega Sableye, Manaphy that can be pretty good defensively, Musharna, Jirachi, Sandslash, stuff like this. And my opponent has mons that I have really trouble switching into. Hydreigon, for example, just because I don't have a fairy type. Jirachi, which always can win games on its own with the Scarf variant. Ember, of course, which has like 3 or 4 switch-ins in general. And when I looked at the team, I saw, yes, only Sandslash and Hydreigon for, not Hydreigon, Mega Sableye for hazard removal or hazard control, like to say it better, because Mega Sableye can't remove hazards, but stops them with magic bounce ability, of course. And so I decided, just because I had trouble switching into Ember, Hydreigon, Adamant Scolipede, Jirachi, I decided to bring a hyper-offensive team, prevent switches on my side, and set up rocks, set up spikes on his side to whittle down his defensive mons and just sweep later. So for the team I bring Mega Lopunny, Aselgor, Magneton, Landorus T, Cobalion, and Hoopa. Lopunny was actually the first one I put on the team just because it's like a hard counter to Mega Sableye. It can't switch into a Will-O-Wisp, but it destroys it. The high jump kick OHKOs after fake out damage, and he can do nothing to me actually. So if he leads off with this, or if he brings it, I'm gonna lead off with Lopunny, get a fake out off, and then Baton Pass into another mon because he won't switch. He won't stay in with Mega Sableye. So the EV spread is pretty standard, I guess. Max attack, some HP, some defense and special defense, and enough speed to outspeed Scarf Ember, which is the fastest mon on this team that I can outspeed with Lopunny. It kinda sucks that I have to run a Jolly Nature, but I guess it still hits everything to the point where it can 2-hit KO it, besides maybe fully defensive Manaphy and Musharna. It's his only counter to Lopunny. So because he has Musharna, I expect him to kinda lead with Sableye, to take the fake out and then switch out into Musharna. That's why I have Baton Pass on Lopunny, just to get initiative on the switch and get in Hoopa or Aselgor who can just OHKO that thing. And return high jump kick is pretty obvious. I can basically 2-hit KO everything besides Musharna, so this will be my lead probably and my late game sweeper. So next up, because I wanted spikes and stealth rocks, I decided to bring Aselgor with a modest nature and an insect plate to guarantee a 2-hit KO on Mega Sableye, unless it's like Max Spadef, which I doubt he'll bring. I don't think he'll bring it at all, but if he brings it, I can just 2-hit KO it with Bug Buzz and get my spikes up later. Spikes can be really helpful because it lets me allow to 2-hit KO some stuff like Manaphy if he brings it defensively with Lopunny, and to whittle down like stuff like Musharna and Jirachi and Sandslash. Bug-Buzz, of course, for stab it hits most of his team besides like Scolipede, but Scolipede is I can Encore it into Protect if he wants to get a speed boost. I can Final Gambit it if I want to, and I don't think it will do a lot. The Final Gambit is here. I only have, as you can see, 28 HP EVs, but it's here to just stop a Rapid Spin from Sandslash. I want my hazards up for this battle, so if I get up a spike and Sandslash comes out to spin them away, I can just Final Gambit, get like 90% or 80% damage off of him and revenge kill it. The speed, again, just like on Lopunny, is enough to outspeed Scarfed Emboar. If, for example, he goes for a Sucker Punch, I can just Encore it into this and set up another spike, so this thing won't be a threat versus me. If I can Encore it into Sucker Punch, of course, otherwise it just Onkers me with Flare Blitz. But yeah, this thing is just here to set up spikes and then kill itself, or maybe take something else with it, with the Bug-Buzz or the Final Gambit. Next up I have the Magneton with the Analytic ability, although he has 2 Steel types in Jirachi and Escavalier, but I kinda wanted the HP Grass because I need the HP Fire to kill Escavalier, but I can't even 2-hit KO it, I think, if he runs an Assault Vest variant, so I want the HP Grass to be able to hit Sandslash, which probably is his switch in for this thing, and yeah, so I decided to not being able to trap Jirachi or Escavalier because I can kill them with other mounts, and I'm not really too concerned. The attacks are pretty standard because Magneton's move pool is ass. I have Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Flash Cannon, and the HP Grass. The speed is enough to outspeed Scarfed, to outspeed Jolly Emboar again, and so I can Volt Switch around freely, especially if I can get rid of the Sandslash early. And yeah, Magneton is also like a check to Manaphy because it can get off really big damage on it, and it doesn't get OHKO'd by a Scald unless he is at +3. But a Thunderbolt, if he is an offensive variant, does like 80 to 90%, and that puts him in range for the Fake Out on Lopunny, so I'm not too concerned about Manaphy. Yeah, next up we have another mon that has Switch Initiative in Landorus T, also Choice Scarf, just because I want some insurance for a offensive Manaphy, because I think at +3 can sweep my team potentially, and I just want to get off hits against it. And of course it's enough speed to outspeed Emboar again. I don't want to switch into this thing at all, so I just go with speedy mons to kill it whenever it hits the field. So it has Earthquake, U-turn, Knockoff, and Explosion. I really want to spam U-turn and Earthquake. I don't see myself clicking Knockoff at all, or Explosion, but Explosion is kinda a last resort move to a Calm Mind Manaphy, for example, or a Calm Mind Musharna, which I doubt put in work versus me, but if I get let my Hoopa get down, or my Acelgar, this thing could be troubling. So I want something to, like the last resort move that can get me off of tricky situations. Next up I needed a Rocker, which is my Cobalion this week. Offensive support variant with enough speed to outspeed max speed Manaphy and Jirachi, with Stealth Rock, Iron Head, Close Combat, and Volt Switch. The EVs are enough to 1-hit KO Heliolisk and Hydreigon after rocks, I believe. It OHKOs Heliolisk guaranteed, but Hydreigon after rocks damage, I think, or after 1 life orb hit, I'm not that sure, but definitely can kill any form of offensive Hydreigon. I've max HP on this because this is like the only mon I would consider a switch into stuff like Hydreigon, because Draco Meteor from Scarf variant does like 70%. Specs Draco can't kill me, so I kinda can switch into this thing and deal with it. It also is a Volt Switch because I want to keep the momentum on my side, as you can see with Volt Switch on Magneton, Baton Pass on Mega Lopunny, U-turn on Landorus T, and of course Volt Switch on my Cobalion, just because I want to bring in my Hooper later. As you can see, this Mon can put in so much work versus my opponent, so I needed to bring it in safely and just destroy his wall core. Yeah, Iron Head obviously is a secondary step for stuff like Whimsicott or Scolipede that resist the fighting type attacks, and the Volt Switch is just to get initiative versus choice locked Hydreigon and stuff like that. So my last one I'm gonna bring is the Hooper with an absolute amazing spread. I have enough speed to outspeed Adamant Emboar. I don't think he'll run Jolly at all, but I have to outspeed Jolly Emboar with Lopunny, and will adjust it to make sure that I outspeed it. But I expect more of an Adamant Life Orb variant, to be honest, and I can outspeed it, and he could pack the Sucker Punch, but I'm definitely gonna scout for this. So the speed is like, I have to put the speed in it, but I don't think I need it at all, just because Emboar probably packs Sucker Punch or is scarfed. Yeah, with a life orb, Dark Pulse, Drain Punch, Fire Punch, and Psychic, I can one-hit KO or two-hit KO everything on his team. 76 attack EVs allow me to OHKO the max HP Escavalier easily with the life orb. Even if someone knocks off my life orb, I can still OHKO it. I can OHKO the Heliolisk, and I can OHKO the Hydreigon after two rocks, or two switches to rocks, or two life orb recoils. So with the Drain Punch obviously. So this thing is gone. Mega Sableye gets 2-hit KO'd by the Dark Pulse, so does Manaphy, so does Scolipede, so does Whimsicott gets OHKO'd by Fire Punch if it's offensive. Jirachi can't take a Dark Pulse, Musharna can't take a Dark Pulse, Sandslash can take one, and Emboar gets killed by a Psychic. So this spread is just... oh, let me put it back in here. This spread just allows me to beat everything on his team. Nothing can switch into it unless he plays a really good prediction game and switches in like Hydreigon on the Dark Pulse or Sableye on the Drain Punch, stuff like that. But he probably is gonna have trouble switching into it. The plan is, to be honest, if he brings Sableye and Musharna, I'm knowing that Musharna is defensive to counter my Lopunny. I will lead off with this versus the potential Sableye lead, just because he wants to get his Mega off to prevent the rocks and spikes. I fake out the Sableye, Baton Pass out of there into Hooper on the incoming Musharna, get a kill early, and get momentum, kinda. The plan with this team overall is to just keep the momentum up with U-turns, Volt Switches, and just punish his switches with the spikes and the Stealth Rock. I think if I can get up both Stealth Rock and spikes early, I can easily beat him, unless I'm like doing like a really bad job at not keeping my mons healthy, so I lose to a potential Scarfer or anything like that. But if I can like break through the Musharna and potentially the Whimsicott and the Jirachi, I can easily clean up the game with my boy Lopunny here. It even takes a non-modest life orb Draco Meteor from Hydreigon, or a modest Draco Meteor from Scarf Hydreigon, so I can even revenge kill this. I'm kinda weak to Scolipede, Baton Pass, Speed Baton Pass into Manaphy, because at +3 and +1 speed, I I'm basically gonna get 6-0 by it. But with all the initiative moves I have and all the power behind my mons, I doubt that he can pull off a successful baton pass into Manaphy. So I guess I have to work around it if it happens. Cobalion can still live a +3 Scald. Not a great chance, but it can do it. Hooper is not KO'd by a +3 Scald, but he probably is gonna pack the Signal Beam. But I doubt it'll happen. I mean, I can prevent it. So yeah, that's my team for week 1. I think we have built a solid offensive team, and we're probably gonna have some fun in this one. I expect Hooper to put in a lot of work, so will probably Lopunny. He can potentially clean up the game late game with some prior damage on most of his mons. Yeah, this bad boy probably will get a kill with the final gambit or the spike damage. We'll see about that. But yeah, the plan is to just keep the momentum on my side and punish his switches with the hazards, and then clean late game with one of my Scarf mons or Lopunny. Yeah, battle is going up tomorrow on Sunday. Stay tuned for that and let me know in the comments if you think we're gonna beat our opponent. See ya.